Hey YouTube, I'm Lucky, and in today's video we're going to be reacting to and commenting on a clip that's going around of a popular YouTuber. His name's Penguinz or Moist Critical, and he gives his thoughts and opinions on Destiny 2. So let's begin.
I'd love to do Destiny 2 if there were more things like the raids, but there's just not. That game is boring. That game is tedious chores to prep you for the upcoming raid in a year.
Definitely an interesting opinion, and one that I think we can all kind of agree with to a certain extent, because Destiny does feel quite tedious. From time to time, it seems like at the start of each season, there's like 1 month of like good, solid content. I mean, Beyond Light has just come out and we're about 1 month in and we're just starting to get to the dry period of time. And so for the remainder of these 2 months of this season, it's basically going to be focused entirely around min-max. And there's going to be a few exotics that drop here and there, like the Hawk Moon hasn't come out yet. But overall, like without being toxic or negative, it's quite dead and it's quite dry. And unfortunately, I do see this as this is the way Destiny is going to be. So if you like it, you like it. And if you don't, you don't. Just go play another game from the end of each season until the next season comes out. So that way you have something to do. But that is quite frustrating, especially for someone who's a hobbyist, someone who wants to play the game a lot, someone who wants to grind the game. It's frustrating that Bungie can't provide an enticing enough min-max game for me to want to grind endlessly to get stronger and stronger within the game. They've implemented things into the game that allow you to grind a ton, but it's at no value. Like, for example, the season pass rank 100 is impressive. I like that, but I'm already at season rank 100. Hell, I have a friend who's already like over season rank 300, and he's not even a content creator. And there's absolutely zero reward for going past season rank 100. So even though you level up more and more and more and you get a bigger seasonal artifact boost, it feels so hollow. And constantly grinding for better and more improved armor is definitely something that I like, and it's enticing for me. But at this point in time, I have pretty much 9 or 10 out of 10 armor on all 3 characters, and there's really no way for getting better armor at a consistent rate that's actually worth my time investment. So really what I feel like during these dead seasons, all there is to do is to grind for god roll weapons and to try to create new builds within the game, which has definitely taken over for the hobbyists. And you're going to see a lot of videos on this channel of, me grinding for god roll weapons, me trying to create new builds, utilizing different weapons, different seasonal mods, exotic armor pieces, etc. But the point I want to get at with this video, and the point that I find frustrating, is that for me, I really just like the replayability of PvP, and I really like the raids when it comes to PvE, and the raids are like the only thing that get me excited about PvE in this game. And at this point in time, we have no clue when the next raid will come out. And considering that the budget is lower now than it's ever been before, it could likely be another year until the next raid. And that model of the once annual raid seems very frustrating to me and to the sentiment to the majority of players, I think. But it seems like that's the way things are going to be moving forward, because by my count, Bungie has made 3 solid attempts to shoot this game into mainstream. The first attempt, and the model by which that I wish we could go back to, was the year 1 of Destiny 1, which was truly the golden era. I mean, when I describe for you what happened within Destiny 1 year 1, you will be amazed if you weren't there. The game launched in September with a raid, Vault of Glass, and then 3 months later there was a new raid, the Crota's End, and then 5 months later there was another, well, sort of, it wasn't a raid, but it was a solid encounter, the Prison of Elders, followed up by 4 months later the release of Taken King. I mean, what an action-packed year that was. I mean, that was truly the golden era. And if Destiny were to ever want to go into mainstream, it would almost certainly have to follow that model, because that was just a crazy time. I mean, there was almost no drought because there was new content coming out endlessly. Waiting a few months in between raid drops versus waiting an entire year was such a better model, but obviously Bungie just couldn't keep up with that for whatever reason, whether it was budget or whether they wanted to take the game in a new direction, who knows. But that was truly, in my opinion, the best and most successful time of Destiny 1. The second attempt for Bungie to launch this game into mainstream would be with Destiny 2 year 1 when they first launched. They definitely created a crazy new sandbox where everything was much more balanced, but it was absolutely terrible. Things were so slow, and the double primary meta was awful. But what they did the same raid thing again, where they did a September raid, a December raid layer, and then they did Spire of Stars in May, which was like such a better blueprint for the game. And obviously, if you look at the population levels during that time, they were way better around the time of new content launch. Although that being said, Destiny 2 year 1 was an absolute failure because of those sandbox changes. The weapon balancing was an awful idea. They definitely should not have gone that route. And that's what leads us up to this video and what I'm trying to get at today, which is that I really hope that this year can be mapped out in a similar year to Destiny 1 year 1 or Destiny 2 year 1. Because technically we are in the era of Destiny 3. They chose not to make Destiny 3. They chose to just continue Destiny 2. But how much more exciting and how much more epic would it be, especially now that the sandbox changes have been made, the special ammo economy is so much better. Trials of Osiris is back in the game. It would be so much better and so much more beneficial if they could keep that model up. I'm talking about the September raid release date, the December raid release date and then the May release date of the raid. Now, obviously, things are kind of set off because of COVID, so the last raid just launched in November, and considering that Bungie is working from home, we probably won't see that model come to fruition, but damn, it really is frustrating. It really is frustrating to be a Destiny player sometimes. Because I've said it 100 times that at its core, this game has the best bones of any game out there, in my opinion. At its core, this game has everything you could want. If Bungie could just pull the resources together to get that model down, that D1 year one, that D2 year one model down, I truly think it would be so much more beneficial for the game. We obviously probably won't see it this year due to COVID, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we will get like a 6-month raid, so maybe in like May we'll get another raid, or at least I hope. And the third point I wanted to mention is that I feel like Bungie's third attempt at getting this game to mainstream was Gambit. Gambit was their own unique creation, something that they worked really hard on, something that they pumped out the promotion for it a ton, and honestly, obviously, you know, I'm not trying to roast or be toxic, but Gambit was obviously a clear, huge flop. I mean, even if we look at the current, you know, Warmind.io player activity in Destiny, 38% of all players are in Patrol, 13 in Strikes, 13 in Crucible, 9 in Story, 9 in the Raid, and Gambit is down at 7.7%. So there are people in Gambit, but honestly, because they force you to go into Gambit in order to level up and triple infamy and everything else, I can't help but feel like Gambit is mostly a chore to the community. And honestly, I just feel bad for Bungie for Gambit, because I know they want it to be a big success, but it just isn't. But let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section below. Do you think that Destiny has too many chores and there's not enough raids, enough things to actually motivate you to play and grind the game for an entire year? And when do you think the next raid will be? Make sure to subscribe with notifications on if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.